Okay, so here we are at the opening of Oedipus the King, Oedipus Tyrannus. One thing we need to notice that is different from what we've been reading with the Oresteia is that this play was a standalone play. It was performed as part of a trilogy, but it was not part of a formal trilogy. So there were no sort of sequels to this play. It was going to just kind of stand alone. All right. So we start here in front of the palace at Thebes. There's a priest at an altar, a crowd of children, and Oedipus is the one who emerges from the palace door. He addresses the children as suppliants. We acknowledge right away that the town is heavy with a mingled burden. The sounds and smells of groans, hymns, and incense. And so we're getting the setting here that something is amiss in Thebes. He addresses himself the first time. He says, I didn't want to get this from messengers, but I came directly. I, Oedipus, whom all men call great. Notice it's the first time he addresses himself. He uses his own name, and he uses an epithet for himself, that all men call him great. So he asks the priest now, and he tells the priest, what have you discovered? What have you learned? Okay. The priest goes on, tells Oedipus that there's a blight on the whole city, the fruitful plants, the cattle in the fields, the women are bearing no children. A deadly pestilence is on our town, and it's affected the whole house of Cadmus. Cadmus is one of the ancestors of Oedipus and one of the first. He's the founder of Thebes. Okay. The priest also notices that Oedipus, here at line 39, was the one who came to the city and saved it. They saved us from the Sphinx, who was the cruel singer who was holding the city captive. And Oedipus was the one who could solve the riddle and free the city from the Sphinx's cruelty. So it turns out now that Oedipus is going to have to save the city a second time. The priest calls him Oedipus, greatest in all men's eyes. Here's the second time we've heard that phrase. And the priest is asking Oedipus, saying, we entreat you, find us some strength for rescue. You're the one who's going to save us. You're the noblest of men. Raise up our city. This land of ours calls you its savior, since you saved it once before. Okay, so we get that context there. Now Oedipus begins, and after the priest's speech, by acknowledging his pity. He pities the children who have come to him. They've come to him full of longing. They are all sick, but he makes their own pain his own pain. He makes their pain, his own pain. And he says, though you are sick, I am as sick myself. Okay? My spirit groans for the city and myself and you at once. And he says, look, you haven't woken me up from a sleep, but I've been awakened by this. I've been vexed by this. And I've already sent for help. I've sent Creon, who is my brother-in-law, my wife's brother. I've sent him to the Pythian temple of Apollo to gain information about how we can alleviate this plague and blight that's on the city. And now we see immediately that Creon is coming, and Oedipus is hopeful that Creon's arrival will bring news and safety. Okay? And they're all anticipating here Creon's good news.